This will be the final segment of our coverage of the CFP Connections 2024 conference. And what better way to wrap things up other than with Kevin Keller, CEO of the CFP Board.
Thank you so much, Chuck. We're so happy you're here, and we're just really excited about this event.
Yeah, I am really excited to be here. As I tell people all the time, I love doing these on locations for goRIA because we get to access the absolute top talent. So far today we talked to Kitsis, Buckstein, Liz Miller, and of course yourself. And this is the inaugural Connections Conference.
You know, it was an idea that we had actually pre-COVID. We've always done a registered program conference for the colleges and universities that help prepare people for CFP certification. We've always had a firms meeting. We've always had an academic research colloquium. We had the diversity summit. And those programs all in of themselves were successful, a couple hundred people at each one. But if you think about the energy when you put them all into one room, and that's what I think we've tried to capture here. I'll let you be the judge whether or not we were successful at it.
Mission accomplished. The energy level here, this particular shot doesn't do it justice. And at some point we're going to bring in some other cameras, maybe the next time we come to one of these, and do some B-roll to give the audience a sense of the number of people here, the energy level, the DJ that was pumping the tunes. I mean, the whole thing has been great. But here's what I'll say to you. What struck me most, first thing this morning when I was setting up, so many young people. Congrats on that, because I think that's something a lot of these conferences struggle with, bringing in the youth. How did you guys do such a good job with that?
Well, it was purposeful, it was intentional, and what we did was we had the good fortunes of the Charles Schwab Foundation, Northwestern Mutual, who actually funded travel for students to come.
Wow.
So there are 140 plus students here who are students in CFP Board registered programs who've raised their hand and said, I want to be a financial planner, and more importantly, I want to be a certified financial planner. And you know, we're seeing that trend. More and more of our exam candidates are coming from baccalaureate programs, and that's what you're seeing. It's very exciting.
It is, and I had the pleasure of having lunch with some of them from, I believe it was Liberty University. You guys were fantastic. 3 young people and their professor, and they were dialed in on the profession. One was there because his dad was in the business. 2 were there because they heard about it and thought it was a great idea. And what I learned today at lunch, there's 130 or so of these programs, like at universities, like on site.
Well, baccalaureate programs, we have 130 universities. Most people know of Texas Tech, Utah Valley, you know, they know of maybe the University of Illinois and maybe Virginia Tech. But there are actually 130 baccalaureate programs at universities. You know, we launched earlier in the month our campaign to promote financial planning as an attractive career choice to college-bound high school students and college students. Now, the theme of the campaign, financial planning.
There it is. Put it for the camera. They say, yeah.
Financial planning, quite possibly the perfect job. And I think it captures what the financial planning community feels about the profession. And we're off to a good start.
I talk to financial planners all the time, and there is such a high level of job satisfaction. What you're doing is great work. It pays pretty well, and a lot of flexibility. What else would you want in a career?
Well, and look, those are all things that we're promoting in the campaign. You know, I think the days of parents paying for a 4-year college degree or going deeply in debt to have a degree in, you know, the history of silver from England in the 16th or 17th century, I think those days are gone. There are good jobs in financial planning, and it's, you know, every financial planner you talk to who's got a business is struggling with the talent pipeline.
Yeah. Well, one of the problems with our industry is that a lot of the advisors look a little bit more like you and I than some of these young people we see milling around, and that's got to change.
You know, I don't know what it was like at Liberty University, but the students here, I think at least 50% women.
Yeah.
And much more representation from people of color as well.
Yeah, which is always great to see. And to that end, I spoke to Liz Miller a bit, and she's dialed in. I spoke with Sheena Gray, who's dialed in on that as well with Quad A. Just a lot of good people at work here for this.
Right, and you know, as we think about next year's conference, which we'll announce tomorrow, but it will be in Chicago.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Next year's conference will be in Chicago. I think now with 140 financial planning students, the opportunity to bring even more firms in and have those connections, to use a term that you know is relevant.
Hey, wait a second.
To make those connections will be even more dynamic.
Well, I can't wait for that, and thanks for the little teaser. So next year in Chicago, I will hopefully be there as well, and we're going to really do it well.
Chuck, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. That's a date. And that wraps it up, our coverage for goRIA, fueled by Investment News, of the inaugural CFP Connections 2024. We will see you next year in Chicago. Kevin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you all in the audience.